It's time for the most prestigious annual tournament in the company, the Strong Style Showdown. We go all out with signings for the upcoming competition, and we bring in an internationally recognized star, and they won't be alone. And be sure to drop a like on the video if you're excited for it, as we aim for 400 likes to unlock the next episode. Check out the Patreon, where you can gain access to a number of save points from the series, and purchase TEW IX using the banner at the top of TEWDB.com if you haven't already. And we're going to start today's episode off by finding a permanent play-by-play commentator. Now, as of late, we've been bringing in Scott Stanford on one-night deals, and maybe he could be an option. We haven't had any sort of penalties due to his work. In the play-by-play department, he is 55, so not too bad. However, because we have Emi Sakura, we don't really need to take note of his colour commentary stat, with hers being 66. So she would take on the colour role, whilst our new signing would take on play-by-play, unless we find somebody with better colour commentary than Emi Sakura. If they have both, that might be an option. We will keep Scott Stanford on the back burner for now, and he's a potential option. Now, somebody I was looking at that could be a potential commentator for us in the future is AJ Mendez or AJ Lee. However, you can see here that she has 45 in colour and isn't quite as good as Emi Sakura, although she would be pretty good for a managerial role or something like that. She's only $210 per show, so yeah, I don't know, that might be one to watch in the future. Maybe we can even persuade her to come out of retirement for a few more matches, we'll see. However, I don't think that's going to be something we do today. But what I would like to do is, of course, find a play-by-play commentator that can come in permanently that isn't going to cost a fortune. So we're going to go with 60 play-by-play commentary, of course, to hire. And I'm not sure if we're going to put based in the USA. We might just leave that open. But I will do can work in the USA. And actually a bonus would be somebody that can book as well, as we could put them on the booking team. But we do have Andy Shepherd, who is based in England right now, and he's $260. So in total, he would be $460 with travel. We also have Chris Brooks, who is actually a really good option because he's a wrestler as well. But he would be $1,000, so I think that's a little bit out of our price range. We've got Chima, who is in Japan, and $500, so I don't think he's going to be an option. Actually, another good option could be Dave Prazak, who's currently with Ring of Honor as well as MFW, who's the new promotion, Massive Wrestling Federation. He is $500, and I have seen Dave before, and he's 68 in play-by-play, as well as 63 in booking reputation and 72 in booking skill. And he's also a people person as well, so he would be a good influence backstage, especially as we're currently trying to really boost our backstage environment. He would be a heel commentator, interestingly, so I think Emi Sakura's face, I believe, and she is, so there would be that sort of dynamic between the two. And yeah, I think so far he would be the favourite for the role, but let's take a look through the rest of the names. There's Gabe Sapolsky, who is a sleazy personality type, so we're not going to bring him in. Hugo Savinovich, who's prickly, so again, he's not going to be someone we're going to look at. Joe Dombrowski, who's the same price as Dave Prazak at $500. He's 76 play-by-play, but he doesn't have that booking skill, which I think would give Dave the advantage. In fact, what we're going to do with that in mind is add a filter for booking skill, and we're actually only going to set it to 20, because even if they weren't magnificent at booking, they would give us a small boost in the creative department. But let's just skip through and see if we can find any cheap ones. So Gabe Sapolsky, again, he's sleazy, so yeah, we don't want to touch him. Kevin Kelly is down as an egomaniac, but he is $300. He can book as well to a decent degree. But yeah, I think we're actually going to bring in Dave Prazak here and stick with that. So he would be about $200 more expensive than Scott Stanford, but he would have the benefit of being a booker for us as well. So yeah, we're going to bring him in. We're going to try and bring his price down though. And I'm not sure if he can sign a written contract because he is technically the CEO of Ring of Honor. Well, not technically, he is the CEO of Ring of Honor and he's running it for Tony Khan in the game. Yeah, let's offer it anyway and see if he can accept. So yeah, $450, we'll do 5 years and we'll make an offer and see what he says. So due to his declining physical ability, that means we need to turn on never involved in in-ring work and see how he says now. So he wants travel as well. So he's in the Great Lakes, so he's only going to cost $50 to come in. That's fine. And so we're going to offer him travel and see what he says. So he wants some merchandise as well, 5%. 10%, and he's quite happy to sign that. So actually that is a good deal at $450, and he could also maybe be an interviewer or something like that, because he does have good mic skills as well. So yeah, I think he could be a good hand for us going forward, as long as he doesn't have bad chemistry with the booking team, which is something we keep running into a lot throughout this save. Dave will be coming in then to join Emi Sakura on the booth for the play-by-play role. And I do have just a little bit of admin to do regarding the new signings that we made in the last episode, so I need to add Stephen Wolf to the junior heavyweight division, so he comes up in the filters, as well as Zaya Chow into the women's division category. So that's done there. Zaya is yet to debut her martial artist gimmick. I think we'll keep it at that. That sounds all right. A legitimate gimmick. And what is Stephen Wolf's gimmick, actually? Yeah, Wolf of Wrestling. I think we've seen that last time, and he got a great for that, so that's good to see. Another thing I want to do before we get into the shows is actually cancel our broadcast deals and re-sign them, because my OCD is bugging me at how they all end at different times. So that's what we're going to go in and do now. So we're going to go to High Spots and cancel the deal. We're going to go to independentwrestling.tv and cancel the deal. Go to Remix and do the same. And the same for YouTube USA. So now we're going to renew them for all of these broadcasters on, I think, 6-month deals, and this way they will all end at the same time, so I don't have to keep doing it. With High Spots, I think we got 60% of revenue last time. Can we go up to 65 yet? And apparently not, so yeah, we'll just sign a 6-month deal with them. We'll also do the same with independentwrestling.tv, again, 60%, or 6 months on demand being the only option. And can we get 65? No, we can't, so we'll offer that. And Remix, we're going to do the same as last time, where we get 100% of the non-existent revenue. We'll do 6 months. And can we get a better time slot yet? It looks like late night is still the only one. Or do we go to on demand? Let me just read up about the difference in sort of viewership and see if there's anything on it in the handbook. Okay, so it says here, on demand is a special variant that is linked to the company's size. At its best, it's as good as prime time. At its worst, it's even worse than graveyard. Okay, so I think we're going to do that. Why not? Let's try it and see how it compares to how it was when we were on late night. It's worth a shot, isn't it? And yeah, we'll make that offer now, and we're going to do the exact same offer for YouTube USA on demand, 6 months, 100% of the 0 revenue, and let's make that offer. That's just to make things with the broadcasters a little bit more organized and easier for me to keep on top of. But let's skip forward then and bring Dave Prazak in for his commentary role on the upcoming episode of Strong Style. And we can now confirm the signing of Dave, and he will be coming in as a heel, as we said earlier. And now let's add him to the team. We're going to go into commentary and add Dave Prazak. So that gives us 68 in play-by-play and 67 in colour commentary with Dave Prazak and Emi Sakura. So that is pretty good, and we shouldn't have any problems with them being unable to keep up. So we'll just save that in. So we do have confirmation that Thunder Rosa has left AEW, somebody that we discussed in the last episode. Of course, she is the mentor of Janai Kai, so bringing her in would definitely help Janai's morale, and it would probably improve our backstage atmosphere as well, with two people that are close working together. But with that said, we are on the day of the show, so let's get into it. Once again, we're going to be bringing everybody into the show tonight. We're going to be using a generic venue yet again, but we're expected 512 fans in attendance tonight, which is really good. With broadcasters, we're going to be using every single one that we have, so all 4. Booking team meeting has generated 91 creative energy, and I forgot to add Dave Prazak to this. So we have generated less than what we should have, but that's fine. Let's spend this creative energy then on some character ideas yet again. So we've got one for anyone that's likely to succeed, and a bit of a gamble for anyone. I think that's worth keeping, and we'll leave it at that. As for backstage incidents, Egil Blanc and Adam Priest have been hanging out recently. Emi Sakura's training Zayda Zhang and Gail Peak yet again. Rokas Horvat was brought before Wrestler's Court, accused of admiring himself in front of the mirror, and he had to buy everybody drinks. And this had a small positive impact upon Rokas. Gail Peak was brought before Wrestler's Court, accused of being absorbed in her phone, and she was sentenced to buy everybody a crate of beer. They love drinks in this locker room, and yeah, that had a small positive impact upon Peak, and that's everything. So let's address the locker room then. I think we're going to use Inspire, just get everybody up for tonight's action. And we will be using those character ideas before we get into the show. And once again, we're going to be using them on people with low morale. So let's see who has negative morale first. So we've got Janai Kai, LJ Clary, Miranda Elise, MV Young, Nicole Matthews, and Trish Adora. Now, is there anybody with really bad momentum in here? And apparently not, so that's good. So who can we potentially get out of the red then. So who's the closest to it? So Janai Kai, actually we have one specifically for her that's likely to succeed. So we're going to use that. And she's still irritated. Okay. How about Nicole Matthews then? Can we give her one? We'll use the one that's a bit of a gamble on her because she's only irritated and she's not massively annoyed right now. And that was a failure apparently, and now she's annoyed. Okay. And who else? We're going to use one on LJ Cleary because he's been very moody recently. So we're going to use the one that's likely to succeed on him. And it was a success and he's still annoyed. And we're going to use another one on Miranda Elise as well, likely to succeed. And she's no longer upset at all. So let's check hers. And she's now pleased. Okay, so that's good to see. So that's yet another unhappy worker turned happy. So now we only have Janai Kai, LJ Cleary, MV Young, Nicole Matthews, and Trish Adora to turn round now. And what does that mean for our backstage morale overall then? Let's go and take a look. And it is still average, but there's a lot more greens than there was in the past. And this whole list was nearly filled with reds last time around when we started the last episode. And once this open forum negativity wears off, then we should hopefully start to see a small boost there. But other than that, we're getting closer and closer to having a happy locker room. And one thing I might do is turn off catering. We did put that on in the last episode. So yeah, actually it probably is. So you can see here, $10,000 spent on workers. And the month before it was just below 4,000. Now is this where it comes in? Yeah, it is. Look at that. $5,100 on bonuses and perks. So I don't think that's worth it at this point. So we're going to turn that off. And I think had we not had that on last month, we probably would have made a decent profit once again. So yeah, we're going to turn it off for now. And yeah, the locker room morale is still average, so it didn't really have too much of an effect on how people are feeling. And so we don't forget, let's add Dave Prazak to the creative team for the future, and that will start to take effect at the next show. Right now, we're going to be generating approximately 171 creative energy, this before any reductions for one reason or another. So let's break down the card for tonight then, as Nicole Matthews and Gail Peak will go one-on-one in the dark match, as well as Aigle Blanc, Kevin Blackwood and LJ Cleary taking on Stephen Wolf, MV Young and Rokas Horvat in a dark match. We then open the main show with Zaya Chow making her debut, taking on Trish Adora. We then go to another Dark Alley vignette, before Ryan Davidson defends his heavyweight championship against Eric Hammer and King Rex, so that feud is blending into the heavyweight title scene. Killer Kelly will then defend her women's championship against a deserving Miranda Elise. And in the main event, our third and final championship will be on the line as Viano Free Jr. defends against Gran Dorado, who has been impressive as of late. So let's get into the show and see how we get on then. Every single major star of our company is on display tonight, so that should help avoid any complaints about being left off shows. And then anybody on the undercard that isn't on tonight's show will be on propaganda, as well as all of the major stars yet again. So that's going to be our method going forward, and hopefully we can avoid any unhappiness. And we open up with a match with great chemistry, which is really good to see, as Nicole Matthews has defeated Gail Peak in 10 minutes 09 by pinfall with a Vancouver maneuver, and Nicole Matthews here with a 50, Gail Peak with a 19, whilst Dave Prazak made his debut on commentary getting an awful for his gimmick, which is not so good. But anyway, 41 to kick off on the dark matches then. And then we go to the 6-man tag match as Aigle Blanc, Kevin Blackwood and LJ Cleary have defeated Stephen Wolf, MV Young and Rokas Horvat when Blackwood pinned Wolf. Kevin was head and shoulders above everybody else there with his 64, whilst Rokas was unfortunately struggling to keep up with his 19, although I believe he's slightly improving. LJ Cleary there with a 52, Aigle Blanc with a 47, MV Young with a 38, and Stephen Wolf actually impressing there in terms of this match at least with a 43, coming in as the 4th best person in the match ahead of MV Young and Rokas Horvat, and that was with him off his game as well. Aigle Blanc is getting better at his gimmick as well, and a 52 here for this dark match, as hopefully we can see even better on the main show. And speaking of the main show, we open up with a 53 in Zaya Chow's debut match as she's defeated Trish Adora in a technical masterclass in 14 minutes 41. And Trish Adora actually outdid the debutant here with a 51, whilst Zaya got a 42, but her martial artist gimmick did get a great, which is good to see. So 53 overall, which is a good start. And we're just building up a little bit of momentum for the debutant here as we build up a potential challenger for Killer Kelly in the future. We'll see how that goes though. And next up we have a vignette, and the body bag is once again shown in the dark alley next to dumpsters and trash bags. This time somebody begins to pull the bag down the alleyway into the darkness. And the Back from the Dead storyline has advanced with this segment and got a 39. And you can see there that this one involves Janai Kai and Zeta Zhang. So we're starting to build towards that trio that we discussed in the last episode of Janai Kai, Zeta Zhang and Zaya Chow. And yeah, a good vignette, and I think that outdid last month's, so that's good to see. And next up we go into the heavyweight title match as Ryan Davidson has managed to retain his championship after pinning Eric Hammer with a roll-up. Now, this is one of the first times I believe that Eric Hammer has been pinned in the company, and yeah, he's not going to be happy about it, but it is a big reward for Ryan Davidson and his work that he's put in as heavyweight champion, and he's managed to get the pin on Eric as the Giant's career begins to wind down. And what we need to build towards now is somebody submitting him and even pinning him in a more conventional pin rather than just a quick roll-up. So we've got two things to build towards there before we say goodbye to Eric Hammer, and Ryan Davidson is the one that's managed to secure that fast roll-up on him, and yeah, made defense number 6 of his heavyweight title. Ryan Davidson had an in-ring performance of 59, Eric Hammer with a 44, and King Rex with a 50, so not too bad, and 53 overall, and the Hammering Rex storyline has advanced with this segment. And in an exceptional match, Killer Kelly has defeated Miranda Elise in 12 minutes 56 by disqualification. And during the match, we had a distraction from Joseph Fenech Jr., who tried to distract Killer Kelly. And ultimately, this one ended up with Miranda Elise being disqualified. And we'll just say she used the belt and the referee caught her whilst Joseph was trying to distract the ref. And Killer Kelly had an in-ring performance of 65, so the woman of the match there, and Miranda Elise got a 53, and overall, a solid match and solid rating with a 66. Now, if Viano and Gran Dorado can do as well as I hope they can, then we're looking at a good rating and improvements across the board in popularity, so let's see how they get on. And they get a 69, which is very nice. And Viano Free Jr. has defeated Gran Dorado in 14 minutes 20 by pinfall after using the ropes for leverage, as we've seen time and time again with this nasty man. And the match was designed to revolve around high spots, which is the first time we've used this. And he makes defense number 8 of his Strong Style Junior heavyweight title. So this reign is really starting to pick up some steam now. And who can be the one to stop him, if anyone? And Viano there gets a 74, Gran Dorado got a 59, and the Veil Emerges storyline has advanced with this segment. And yeah, Viano getting the cheating victory over Gran Dorado. And maybe we'll see this one again later down the line. And that gives us a 66 overall, which is really, really good, and increased our popularity in 24 regions. As for addressing the locker room then, we're going to praise Gran Dorado, I think, for putting on a good performance. And we're also going to praise Stephen Wolf again, actually, because he's done well tonight. And they are pleased with that. As for financial reports, we only lost 493 this time after turning off catering and not using as many people. And yeah, it looks like we're going to be back on track for profit this month. And we sold $3,598 worth of tickets, brought in $913 in broadcast revenue just for this one night. And merchandise was $1,158. Yeah, solid stuff there, as we're making a lot more broadcast revenue this time around. After last time, we made about 700 across 2 shows, so 900 for one night is definitely good. And for popularity then, we increased in the Mid-South to 29, which is great to see after, once again, not growing in popularity there on the last show. And yeah, we've gone up to 3 in Ontario, Saskatchewan and Manitoba in Canada, and everywhere else remains the same, although there is slight growth in between the numbers. And we have some news coming out of AEW Dynamite last night, where Ricochet was sent home after being unable to work due to getting high before the show. And it says, will this be the end of Ricochet in the company? Time will tell. And that would be a very interesting development if they were to release Ricochet. I mean, I wouldn't mind having him on our roster, although he is $2,900. Maybe a one-off appearance as Prince Puma could be an option, given our lucha roots. But yeah, we'll see how that goes, and we'll keep him on the shortlist and track any developments there. As for viewership for last night then, we had a total of 1,823 viewers as compared to the 10,147 that we made the month before, or the show before. And our TV rating hasn't moved, which was 3,150 on both occasions, which seems to be the cap right now for that. But our viewership elsewhere, this being on the subscription services, is going up. So it looks like we have hit the cap there for Remix and YouTube. That things are improving where it's most important, actually, which is on the paid subscription services. And it also seems that moving from late night to on demand on YouTube and Remix hasn't made a difference, as we got the same viewership last time as we did this time. As for attendance, that last show was actually our second highest attended show ever, just behind last month's Propaganda. And strangely, it seems that Propaganda is now a more prestigious show than our main show and is actually getting higher viewership, which is a strange one, considering the main show gets higher ratings and has been going on longer, but that's fine, I guess. As for Propaganda, I was thinking of potentially, not yet, but maybe at some point in the future, of turning it into a TV show instead of a monthly event. This means it would be one Propaganda show per week and we wouldn't get the penalties that we had. But what I was thinking is having it so we book 4 shows at once, so we're actually paying the same production costs, but we would have the benefit of gaining popularity faster. We would gain it 4 times a month with 4 Propaganda shows. Now, the reach would be less, so that sort of balances itself out, but it's definitely something to think about, especially if we can tape them all on one night. The only downside of that is the fact that we would only get 1 gate, so people pay for 1 ticket for all 4 shows, whereas if we taped them weekly, they would have to buy 4 tickets. But in terms of wider growth, it might be beneficial. That is something to think about, but I'm a little bit wary as I'm wondering whether it's more expensive to do. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's something that we can experiment with going forward, but we are starting to become a lot more secure now with our popularity and in turn sponsorships and of course merchandise and broadcast revenue and everything like that, so it might be a little bit more sustainable going forward. So heading into the Strong Style Showdown that we'll be setting up today and ultimately finishing off in the next episode, we have 2 spare spots in the heavyweight side of the bracket. So what we're going to do now is fill them, and I know exactly who we're going to bring in. So first on the list then is Alex Kane, somebody who in real life is in MLW right now. He's known as the Suplex Assassin, and he also has an amateur wrestling background, which kind of fits what we're doing in terms of trying to present wrestling as somewhat of a legitimate sport. And yeah, I think he'll fit in. He's professional, he's actually better as a heel, and plays legitimate and swagger well, and doesn't play comedy matches, which is perfectly fine. As for popularity, he's in and around 30s. He's 31 in the Mid-South as well, which is his 3rd most popular region in the US, which is pretty good. And yeah, he's only $230 per show, and I think we could probably get that down to about $200 if we try. In terms of his skills, he's very solid fundamentally. 76 basics, 82 consistency, 86 stamina. He's got 68 technical wrestling, 59 Priorarezu, and even microphones 61 and 64 charisma as well, which is pretty good. So I think he could be a good hand going forward for us and a potential future main eventer. And yeah, I think he's got a lot of potential at the age of 33, and I think there's room for growth. So we're going to bring him in and see how he gets on. He is currently unemployed. He's 238 pounds, so he fits right into that heavyweight division with his muscular build as well, so he is in good shape. And yeah, let's sign him up then, and we're going to offer him $200 per show and see if he's up for it. We're going to offer a 5-year contract and go from there. So he's based in the Southeast as well, so he won't need travel, and he wants 210. I think that's okay. So yeah, 210, no travel involved. And he just wants some merchandise, so we'll try 5%, or about 10, about 15, and yeah, he's okay with that. Right, so he'll be coming in and entering the qualifier, which will be going down not on the next show, but the show after that, which will probably be the last show of this episode, and we'll sort of get to the schedule in just a second of how this is going to play out. But before we get there, we're going to be bringing in Wardlow. Now, this would be our biggest signing yet. He's been a free agent on the game since leaving AEW in June 2026, so just over a year now, and he was recently hired by the NWA, so he will be getting work elsewhere as well, which should hopefully help get him back into ring shape. And yeah, we're going to give him a run and see how we get on. If $1,000 turns out to be too much, which is how much he's going to cost per show, then we might just cut him, have him lose and say goodbye. But I reckon that the money is probably going to be worth it. Now, if we look at his popularity, he's popular all across the world, so that's pretty big for our image. In terms of the Mid-South, he's got 47 popularity. And in the ring, he's not the best, but I think it's going to be his popularity that leads the way here. He has good performance skills with 76 star quality, even 83 sex appeal and 78 menace. Athleticism is his best attribute at 85. He's safe with a 75. He's not that consistent, which we'll see how that plays out going forward. But 57 brawling is not too bad either. But as I say, it's mainly about his popularity and him being a draw for us. And I think he can definitely help shift some tickets. And I think he could play a key part in the upcoming showdown, as whether he wins or loses, he could be somebody useful over the coming months to, as I say, give people the rub and, yeah, build some stars within our company. So that's what we're going to do, and we will be bringing him in on a written contract. Now, we're going to try and get his fee down as much as possible, and it's also worth bearing in mind that he's in the Great Lakes, so he'll require $50 travel, I believe. But we're going to offer him $900 to start with and go from there. And I'm sure he'll want some merchandise, so we'll go to 10% as well. And he probably will ask for travel, but let's just try it. And yeah, he does. So we're going to offer that and see what he says. So given my popularity, I think I deserve a higher cut of merchandise. Okay, so we'll try 15. And it seems he's happy with the offer. The 900 was enough. Maybe we could have even gone lower, but that's okay. So let's get that offer in then. And I kind of see him as a replacement for Mike DiVecchio, who was a similar kind of style as Wardlow. And maybe one day we can bring Mike back and have Wardlow versus Mike DiVecchio. That's just a vision I have, but we'll see whether Mike DiVecchio becomes available anytime soon. And on top of this, we mentioned her earlier on in the episode, but I'm actually going to bring in AJ Mendez as a manager. So she hasn't actually got the managerial role right now. She's just a color commentator, but I believe we can just put her in as somebody's manager anyway, and she can cut a hell of a promo and she can hype somebody up massively. And with her charisma as well, that's the main attribute for a manager. So I definitely think it's going to be beneficial for the money that she's asking for, only 210, and I think we could probably get it down to about 180 as well. So we're going to bring in AJ Mendez as our second major signing of the episode. So let's check out her attributes first then. And she's got quite a lot going on here. She's an amazing babyface and an amazing heel, so she can do both. She's creative, so she'll come up with ideas for herself. I think that only comes into account when she's a wrestler, though. She's easily marketable, so when we are selling merchandise for wrestlers, she'll be able to sell a lot. She's easy to do business with, which again only comes into account when she's a wrestler. Maybe we can even persuade her out of retirement at some point. She's a giving performer. She's highly moral, so she won't work with any risque companies. She's lively and upbeat backstage, which is definitely going to help us going forward. And she does have outside interests, so if ever her work in wrestling dries up, she's quite happy to move on and retire and leave the business. So we're going to sign her now before she does that. And yeah, let's get the contract offered then. And we will go with 170 to start off with. We're going to make it a 3-year contract. And she will probably need travel as well, but let's just make the offer just in case. And yes, she does. And she wants 190, which I think I'm quite happy to meet. We'll go with 5% merchandise, and she does want a little bit more. She wants more than 10 now as well, so 15's not even enough. And how about 20? No, 25. And due to my declining physical ability, I would prefer to have a reduced schedule. So this is a contract for both in-ring and out of the ring, so it's whatever is needed. So it's either a case of turning it to never involved in in-ring work, and basically if she does come out of retirement, negotiating a new contract, which would be more expensive, or we go with whatever is needed and basically just let her work events and ATV shows, which is what we're going to do. So let's go for that. And she seems happy to accept. And she will be introducing her client on the Strong Style Qualifier, which will be going down very soon. So let's break down how the schedule is going to work then. So we have an upcoming Strong Style Propaganda at the end of this month, which we're going to keep on. However, the main Strong Style show for next month, which would have normally happened in early August, is going to be pushed back to September, which means Strong Style 38 will take place a month after it was going to originally, and we're going to move it to the first Wednesday of September. and we're going to save that in, which leaves us a gap in early August for a show, which will be the Strong Style Showdown kickoff show. And this will be happening, as I say, on the first Wednesday of August. We'll turn this to active, and I think everything else should be set as it's supposed to be. So let's break down how the Strong Style Showdown is going to work then this year. And it's the same as always, but just in case you can't remember, and we'll do it as a bit of a recap. So there will be 2 5-man elimination matches. There are 2 empty spaces in these, and these spots will be filled by the qualifying rounds on either side. So you can see there on the left-hand side of things, the heavyweight elimination match, and you can see 2 matches to the left of that. Those are the qualifying rounds, and whoever wins those enters the main match, and it's the same for the junior heavyweight side of things. Whoever wins those 2 elimination matches for each division will enter the final, and of course the winner of the final wins the showdown. However, there is a twist. The champion of each division are in their respective elimination matches, and if they are eliminated by someone, that person gets a championship match. So the qualification round will go down at the Strong Style Showdown kickoff show, then the elimination round will happen at Strong Style 38, then the showdown final will happen at Strong Style 39. However, as I say, if a champion is eliminated by someone, that person will get a championship match at Strong Style 40. So it's big stakes, and a target is on the back of the champions, and they will be lucky to get away with the win here, as somebody could earn a title shot on the biggest show of the year. And with that said, let's get these 3 contracts signed, with Alex Kane and Wardlow entering the qualification round. And we've just skipped forward then, and we've had a notification that Metalik has officially left Noah after recently joining them on tour. And one of the problems with this was that he moved to Japan temporarily. So we had to pay travel for him last time. I think it was $200 to bring him in from Japan, which I didn't realise till after the show. However, he is now back in the southeast, so that isn't a problem anymore. And recently we've been covering the career of CM Punk as he decided to hang up his boots after leaving WWE. And we've just received word that he's now been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. So that is the latest on the CM Punk situation. But as for our signings, and our biggest signing so far at $1,000 or just under, Wardlow has confirmed that he is joining the company. He will be coming in as a heel, as I say, and I think he's a big addition to the upcoming showdown and should help the ratings, but we'll see. And now we just await Alex Kane and AJ Mendez as we wait to see who AJ Mendez has chosen as her client. Will it be somebody already on the Strong Style roster? Will it be somebody that we've just signed? We'll find out heading into the show. And we can now confirm then the signing of Alex Kane and AJ Mendez. Of course, Alex Kane will be coming in as a heel, and we can also confirm the signing of AJ Mendez. However, what we need to do is put Alex Kane into the heavyweight division, and we need to do the same with Wardlow. So let's do that. But anyway, let's get further forward and finally to our second show of the month, that being Strong Style Propaganda. So we're on the day of the show then, and once again nobody will be getting the night off, as we're just going to make sure that we book everybody that might complain on the show, that being the major stars and everybody that wasn't on the last show. As for venue then, we're going to be once again using a generic venue and going from there. We're going to of course be using all of our broadcasters now, so let's do that. And this is the first booking team meeting involving David Prazak, so let's see if there's any bad chemistry then. And there's bad chemistry between Prazak and Jim Smallman. Every single time. So we only generated 94 creative energy, and what that might mean is that we have to say goodbye to Jim Smallman, because Dave Prazak, of course, has another role in being a commentator, whilst Jim is just a writer, basically. We have Emi Sakura running training drills with Zeta Zhang and Gail Peak, and actually after Artemis Spencer recently left, we also need to assign a men's coach, which I think will be Emi Sakura, but for now she's training Zeta Zhang and Gail Peak, which is good to see. Rokas Horvat was brought to Wrestlers Court for forgetting to shake another worker's hand and was sentenced to buy drinks. Trish Adora and Killer Kelly have been hanging out, and that is all of the incidents then. And for Address the Locker Room, let's pull a rib and see if we can get a bit of a morale boost. And we're going to pull a rib on Rokas Horvat. Why not? He was taken to Wrestler's Court now. Let's rib him. And he's said to have been upset at your attempted rib. And we didn't have any response from the locker room, so I guess that didn't go well. However, let's see if we can fill the role of head men's trainer while at the show. So we are probably going to make it Emi Sakura as a say, because she does have the natural trainer attribute. And I think she's the only person on the roster with it, which it looks like she is. So yeah, she's going to be doing double duty and training the men and the women. And just a shout out to Crash Test Zone, who reminded me in the comments that I needed to do this. Yeah, let's assign Emmy to that, and she's accepted the position. That's good to see. And now I'm just going to quickly book the show, and I'll be back with you in just a second. So we're going to kick things off with 2 dark matches, and these will involve Alex Kane and Wardlow. So Wardlow will be taking on local worker Wrecking Bull Legursky. Now, you might remember that he recently requested to hang out backstage, and we accepted. He didn't work a match though, so we're going to give him a match tonight and feed him to the War Dog. Then Alex Kane will take on MV Young in the second dark match of the night. And we're going to hold off on their on-screen debuts until the actual Strong Style kickoff show, just in case they've got a little bit of ring rust. And then we're going to open the main show with Joseph Finneck Jr. taking on Adam Priest. Kevin Blackwood, LJ Cleary and Ryan Davidson will then team up against Shaf, Rokas Horvat and Stephen Wolf in 6-man tag action, basically just to get Blackwood, Cleary and Davidson on the show so they don't complain. We then go to a body bag vignette, which will be a rerun of the one we saw on the last show. Viano Free Jr. then takes on local worker Lowrider, who is a junior heavyweight with good safety, so he will protect our champion tonight while securing him a likely win. And then AJ Mendez will make her debut before our main event will see Nicole Matthews and Killer Kelly team up against Miranda Elise and Hyan. And with Elise chasing the women's championship, can she get one over on the Killer tonight? Let's find out. Right, so as for Wardlow's debut, you can see that he was actually rusty, so it's good that we've given him a match off screen. And he defeated Wrecking Bull Legursky in 6 minutes 31 by pinfall with a powerbomb symphony. And you can see here that he was set to dominate the match as well. And his debut of the Mr. Mayhem gimmick got a very good, which is, well, very good. The commentary and the colour gave the match a boost as well. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much he goes up by once he's not rusty, as 41 is pretty good for where we're at. And we get a 37 overall to kick things off. And then we go into an even better match, and very impressive here from Alex Kane on his debut, as he's defeated MV Young in 7 minutes 34 by submission, and he got a 57 individual performance there against MV Young's 39, so yeah, as I say, very good from Alex. Alex Kane debuted his suplex assassin gimmick and got an initial very good, and I think his performance there was definitely helped by this good chemistry, and also it's good to know that he's not rusty either. So yeah, 47 in this final dark match as we head into the main show then, where Joseph Finneck Jr. has secured a big win over Adam Priest in 15 minutes 03 by pinfall after using the ropes for leverage, as he continues to learn from his new leader Viano. Joseph got a 40 against Adam Priest's 39, so actually a decent match from both of them. Joseph Finneck Jr. once again benefited from a hot new move, and we get a 44 to kick off the main show. And next up we go into that tag team match with Blackwood, LJ Cleary and Ryan Davidson defeating Shaf, Rokas Horvat and Stephen Wolf in 10 minutes 25, when the heavyweight champion Ryan Davidson pinned Rokas Horvat with a frog splash. And Horvat was the weak link in this one as expected with his 17, whilst Kevin Blackwood was the man of the match with a 62, followed by Ryan Davidson with a 57, then Shaf actually with a 55 despite being on the losing side, with LJ Cleary getting a 50 and Stephen Wolf with a 43. So very good match there at 55, just to get a few of the major stars on the show there and getting them a win in the process. And Shaf there standing out amongst the pack as well of his team. And next up we go to a rerun of the vignette from Strong Style 37, where we see the body bag and somebody pulling it out of the alleyway, and that appears to be Zayda Zhang by her presence here, as we continue to build up to their trio that we recently discussed. And this one got a 43, so pretty good. And next up we go into the Viano versus Lowrider match, and I was tempted to put this in a dark match, however we know what Viano can do in the ring, and it can normally carry a match to a pretty good rating, so we may as well put it on the broadcast. And he has defeated Lowrider here in 9 minutes 57 after a Viano driver. jobber. And again, a clean win against a jobber. And Viano got a 66, so very good from him, and Lowrider got a 44, which isn't so bad either, bringing us a 55 overall. And next up then, AJ Mendez makes her debut to a huge pop as she makes her way to the ring. She's here to announce that she has secured the signing of a client and they will be entering the Strong Style Showdown next month. And she's here to make sure they win the showdown and leave Strong Style 40 as champion. Now, we've left this open here, so we haven't said that they're coming to win the championship. Is it somebody that's already a champion? We don't know. Who knows? And of course, they're here to win the showdown as well. The champions enter that, and there's a lot of people in the field for the tournament. So it's anyone's guess at this point who she will be introducing as her client at the next show, which will be the Strong Style Showdown kickoff show. And AJ Mendez has debuted her crazy gimmick and got an initial rating of very good, and the AJ's client storyline has advanced with this segment, or started, but it says that because I had to put it in as a note, as the client isn't involved in the segment. So yeah, the storyline has started though, and we'll see where it goes going forward as she brings in a 69 segment rating, which is nice. And then we go to the main event then, where Miranda Elise and Hyan have defeated Nicole Matthews and Killer Kelly in 13 minutes 49 when Miranda Elise pinned Killer Kelly after a distraction from Joseph Finneck Jr. So Elise has now pinned the champion and has now earned herself another championship match after being disqualified last time around. And we also saw Viano Free Jr. distract Nicole Matthews, and there's also a note here for Joseph Finneck Jr. to distract Killer Kelly as well. Yeah, 64 from Killer Kelly, 49 for Nicole Matthews, 44 for Hyan, and 61 for Miranda Elise, keeping up with the champion there, but Kelly was off her game, and a 62 to close things off then. And overall, we got a 58. And that was slightly hampered by the fact that Joseph Finneck Jr. was used too much on the show, but even so, we did increase our popularity in 23 regions and not 24, so not every single region. However, as Bob Dude 42 in the comments pointed out, this is likely because we've reached the cap for popularity growth in our region, that being the Mid-South, for the month, with our first show of the month. This because we're on 4 broadcasters there, and we're also in the region putting on the show, so there's nothing to worry about there, and it's not the fact that we're not getting high enough ratings, because 58 should be enough to increase in popularity in the Mid-South. Positive stuff there growing in every other region, and we'll see how much by in just a second, but let's praise Killer Kelly and say that she's awesome because she had to take the fall tonight and wasn't so happy about it. And we'll also praise, I think, Alex Kane. Even though he got a win, he did really well on his debut, so we'll tell him that he's awesome as well. And they're both pleased with that. As for financials then, we only lost $213 tonight, which is around about the same as what we lost on the last show, if I remember rightly. It was actually yesterday I recorded it, so maybe I'm wrong there, but I think it was. And we brought in 852 broadcast revenue, 4,736 in ticket sales, and 1,332 in merchandise, as we're looking good for the end of the month once the sponsorship revenue comes in, and we're just about breaking even here. And for popularity then, have we gone up a number in any of the regions? And we have. So we've gone from 11 to 12 in the Midwest, 11 to 12 in the Southeast, and 11 to 12 in the Southwest. Before we look at the viewership figures then, we do have an email from LJ Cleary, and he said that MV Young needs to learn how to sell, and he's not worth pushing until that's addressed, apparently. And as for viewership figures then, we brought in a total of 11,277 viewers, which is slightly down on Strong Style 37, but that was a better show. And it's actually more than the last propaganda show, which was rated the exact same. So yeah, things are definitely going up for us in that regard. And I also want to check Joseph Finneck Jr.'s perceptions. So he's been unimportant up until this point, which is why we will get complaints about him being used too much, but it looks like that will no longer be an issue. You can see here that he's now recognizable, definitely helped by that win over Adam Priest. So if we take a look at his popularity in the region, you'll see that he's gone up to 19 in the Mid-South, and at the start of the month he was 14. So yeah, it looks like we won't be getting that warning anymore as he continues to grow in popularity in the Mid-South. And it's the same for Aigle Blanc, who we also used to get the warning for, and he's also recognizable. So it looks like those two Frenchmen from Europe are starting to make a name for themselves now. And we are now at the end of the month, and there has been a social media storm engulfing Matty Wahlberg, who is Grayson Waller in WWE, and it looks like he's getting a little bit of heat, and it may be affecting him. And apparently he has been bullying a young fan. This is something we've recently seen with Renee Paquette in AEW, and apparently things are expected to blow over and will be forgotten about, but we'll see how that develops going forward, and I will actually shortlist him in case he ends up leaving. We have the results of the latest regional battle, and we did finish first once again, so we'll see a 5% increase in attendance for the next month. However, we are here to look at the finances, so let's see how we're shaping up and how much profit we made. And hopefully it was over 3,000, but let's find out. And it was just under, actually. So we made 2,992 overall, selling 8,334 in ticket sales, $1,765 in broadcast revenue, which is much higher than last time around. Sponsorships are slightly up to 4,941, and we're slightly up on merchandise with 3,345. We actually spent less on workers this time around. It's of course due to taking off the catering. So slow and steadily, we are starting to increase our finances going forward, despite the recent signing of Wardlow, who is costing us quite a bit of money. But let's get to his on-screen debut as we head into the Strong Style Showdown kickoff show, and let's take a look at the brackets for the tournament. So in the qualification round on the heavyweight side of things, we're going to see Shaf and Alex Kane go one-on-one before MV Young and Wardlow fight for a spot in the elimination round, before Adam Priest and Joseph Fenech Jr. go one-on-one for the second time in a month, before Aigle Blanc takes on LJ Cleary for the final spot on the junior heavyweight side of things. Automatically qualifying for the heavyweight elimination match will be heavyweight champion Ryan Davidson, Eric Hammer and King Rex. And on the junior heavyweight side of things, it will be Viano Free Jr., Kevin Blackwood and Gran Dorado. Now in the past, it's normally been former champions that automatically qualify. However, if we go to Gran Dorado's match history, he recently defeated LJ Cleary at Strong Style Propaganda in June, which made me decide that LJ has to qualify this time around. And one thing I do actually want to do with LJ Cleary is turn him. He's been with the company as a face for quite a long time, but he has been annoying backstage, and I think his personality actually fits being a heel. Although it does say better as a babyface, it does say he can also work heel, which we're going to do. And this is in response to us also set to turn Kevin Blackwood, who is also better as a heel, but now will be working as a face, as that's just the direction he's been going in on screen. So LJ's turn will balance out Kevin's turn, and we'll see how that turns out. So we have received word that Zaya Chow's contract is set to expire in 30 days, which means we're going to offer her a new deal. And I think she's impressed enough where she's earned a full-time contract with us. And we're going to offer her 3 years, and we're going to offer her $200 per show, which is what she's currently on, and we'll see what she says. So she does want $220, which is a $20 increase actually, and she does want merchandise as well, so we're going to offer 10%, and she actually wants more, so 15, and that seems to be agreeable. We'll go with that. And we do have the same notification for Stephen Wolf, who signed at the same time. And I also think he's worth keeping around. We're going to offer him the $50 that he's already on, so we should be fine with that. We'll offer him 3 years once again and see what he says. And he doesn't want any merchandise, so that's good. And he'll be sticking around in the junior heavyweight division going forward. And we will be giving nobody the night off once again, as I think we found a formula to keep everybody happy. We're going to use a generic venue, and this time we're expected to bring in 643 fans, which is huge. Let's do that. And we're going to finalize our broadcasters and again select all 4. As for the booking team meeting, we do still have that bad chemistry with Jim Smallman and Dave Prazak, and have only generated 95 creative energy, and we now have 166 in the bank. And I think it'll be worth spending that at this point. So let's grab a creative finish, which is likely to succeed for anyone. Let's also grab an angle idea, and this one is likely to succeed for Killer Kelly. Okay, so that's fine. And we'll also grab another angle idea as well, and this one's a safe bet for anyone. As for incidents, Deborah Alexander wants to hang out backstage. I believe we've had her before. She's a prickly personality type though, so I think we're going to avoid that one and say no, go away. Emi Sakura ran pre-show training drills with Zeta Zhang and Gail Peak, as well as Rokas Horvat. And that's all for incidents. For addressing the locker room then, let's pull another rib on somebody. And apparently Viano Free Jr. is irritated, so maybe we do it to him. And although that might risk upsetting him further, yeah, I don't think we're going to do that. I think we're going to rib, once again, I think we're going to rib MV Young this time. He's angry and he's not doing very well in the ring anyway, so if it pushes him out of the company, that's fine. But there's also a chance that he sees the funny side, so let's see how it goes. And it has gone down well with the rest of the locker room, and he seems to think that it's pretty funny and has taken it in good humour, which is definitely the best outcome. However, I want to check Viano's irritation and see what's up with him. So he's annoyed at being left off Strong Style Propaganda. So he seems to be annoyed at being left off a show in April, which I think we already knew about. And it looks like all that's happened is one of the positive incidents has worn off, which has tipped him into the red. But it shouldn't be too much to turn around. Maybe we offer him a bonus just to put him on the green side. So I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to offer him $100 bonus and see what happens. And yeah, now he's normal morale, so that's fine. Now I wonder if we've got any other bad morale that we could maybe try and save before we get into the show. So Janai Kai is annoyed still. MV Young is angry, as we saw earlier. I wonder if there was a positive from his rib, though, and there is. So once he gets over the fact that he was left off a show 8 months ago, he should be back on side, and that should happen within the next couple of months, I would imagine. Nicole Matthews is still annoyed. Again, things that should wear off fairly soon, I would hope. Rokas Horvat is still irritated at being ribbed. Okay, so that's fine. And Trisha Dora is annoyed, but is happy about her recent booking as of June, so that's a positive. I think we're going to offer one bonus out tonight, and that'll be to Janai Kai, and we're going to offer her $100 like we did with Viano, as she is one of the main stars of the show, and see if we can get her closer to the green. And she's now only irritated, so that's good. So here's the card then for tonight, and once again, every major star in the company is on the card, if they're not already in the Strong Style Showdown, and they will be participating in a dark match. So Killer Kelly and Nicole Matthews will once again team up against Miranda Elise and this time Gail Peak. And again, this is just a dark match to get them used. Ryan Davidson, Kevin Blackwood and Grand Dorado will then team up against Viano Free Jr., Eric Hammer and Stephen Wolf. Again, this being a dark match. And then we go into the main show where Adam Priest versus Joseph Finette Jr. will go down in the qualification match. Eagle Blanc will then take on LJ Cleary before AJ Mendez reveals her client. Wardlow will then take on MV Young, and finally in the main event, Shaft will go one-on-one with new impressive signing Alex Kane. And actually I've just added some post-match scenes to the Eagle Blanc LJ Cleary match, but that will be the card for tonight, and it should be pretty good, so let's find out how we get on. And in the women's tag team dark match then, Killer Kelly and Nicole Matthews have won this time after defeating Miranda Elise and Gail Peak when Killer Kelly pinned Gail with a curb stomp. So protecting Miranda this time around, however Killer Kelly and Nicole Matthews pick up the win. Nicole Matthews with a 45 here, Gail Peak with a 21. Woman of the match is Killer Kelly, and slightly behind her is Elise with 61 and a 57 overalls, and this could have easily been a main card show had there been room. And next up then, we go into an amazing match here, as Viano Free Jr., Eric Hammer and Stephen Wolf have defeated Ryan Davidson, Kevin Blackwood and Grand Dorado in 15 minutes 11 when Viano Free Jr. pinned Grand Dorado while using the ropes for leverage. And Grand Dorado here with a 63, Kevin Blackwood with a 68, so man of the match, joint with Viano Free Jr., Ryan Davidson with a 60, Stephen Wolf with a 42, on par with Eric Hammer, who also got a 42. And the Veil Emerges storyline has advanced with this segment and gained heat, and yeah, it got a 64, which is pretty good for a dark match, and it'll be hard for any of the main show matches to equal this, but we'll see how they get on. And to open the main show then, in the first qualifier of the night, Joseph Finette Jr. has once again defeated Adam Priest in 14 minutes 44 with a wheelbarrow cutter, following interference from Viano Free Jr. Now, of course, Joseph Finette Jr. and Viano have been working together recently, and Viano definitely benefits by having an ally in the elimination match, because you would imagine their goal will be to get to the final two, and then Joseph lay down for his leader, and we'll see if that happens in the match itself. This match did get a 46 though, so a solid start to the main show as we move on to the next qualifier for the junior heavyweight division, as Aigle Blanc has defeated LJ Cleary in 13 minutes 43 by pinfall with a 450 splash. And a big win here for the French luchador, defeating LJ Cleary, who is a former champion of the division, and Aigle actually got a 46 whilst being outdone by LJ with a 59. So I think in terms of building Aigle Blanc up, it was the right decision, but in terms of performance and potential performance of the elimination match, maybe we should have lent towards Cleary, but nonetheless we got a 54 overall, and this will make sense with the next segment, as after the match Aigle Blanc goes to shake LJ Cleary's hand. However, Cleary decides against this, barging into him as he storms off to the back. And this will be LJ Cleary's heel turn. So that was a complete success apparently, so that's good to see. So this was an easy way of doing this and leaves the door open for a potential feud. However, there was no sort of attack to make that 100% necessary, but it's definitely something we can go back to in the future if we need an extra mid-card feud. But we do now go backstage as AJ Mendez is shown in the parking lot talking to heavyweight champion Ryan Davidson, who enters the Strong Style Showdown next month in the elimination match, although the camera is too far away to pick up any audio. So we don't want to make this look like it's set up and then mic'd up and everything like that. This is just one of the cameramen has happened to spot this encounter. Davidson is then attacked from behind by Wardlow, who takes him out with a huge clothesline to the back of the head, sending him to the floor. Wardlow then ground and pounds the champion and power bombs him onto the trunk of a car, and the cameraman then follows AJ and Wardlow through the backstage area as they make their way to the top of the entrance ramp. AJ pulls out the contract that has been signed by Wardlow, announcing that she has signed the most dangerous man in wrestling, and he's here to take over Strong Style Americas and win it all. Wardlow then makes his way to the ring for his match with MV Young, and this one overall got a 68, so a very good promo there. So for the individual bits of the segment then, the backstage part got a 68, whilst the promo in the arena got a 63. The AJ's client storyline has advanced with this segment, and AJ clearly enjoyed having the freedom of going off script and did a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd, which is great to see and is exactly why we signed her. And before we get into the match then, let's quickly add her as Wardlow's manager, because I forgot to do it. Make sure that's done, and her charisma will definitely help this match. So let's see how Wardlow versus MV Young goes down next. And yeah, wasn't too bad. Wardlow there with a 53 as he defeats MV Young, who got a 36 in 7 minutes 11 by pinfall with a power bomb symphony. And yeah, 46 overall, so pretty good. Not our best ever match, but MV Young was off his game. But Wardlow and MV Young did have pretty good chemistry, which I suppose balanced it out, and AJ Mendez did some good work at ringside, which is good to see. Now I'm interested in seeing whether the match length actually damaged this one. So apparently the segment rating was penalised due to the negative impact of the road agent notes being used. So I wonder if that's Wardlow being told to dominate, so maybe that's something that I don't need to do going forward. However, I think at this stage, in terms of establishing him as a threat to the heavyweight division, I think it's made sense, but I think I'm going to lay off that now going forward, especially with him now moving up to face some stronger competitors in the elimination match and maybe beyond. But it seems like he has his sights on the heavyweight champion Ryan Davidson, and the two will be meeting again in the Strong Style Showdown elimination match. But let's get into the main event then, where Shaf has drew with Alex Kane on his debut following a double countout. And yeah, this leaves us in a bit of a situation where there's an open spot in the elimination match, but these two lads have drew. So what happens now? Do they both enter? Do none of them enter? We'll find out in the next episode. But Shaf here did get a 47, but Alex Kane outdid him with a 57, so it looks like Alex Kane may be the better signing out of him and Wardlow, especially as this one had a bad creative finish, which didn't help their ratings at all. However, 56 overall as our main event is pretty solid, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, we'll see how this situation plays out going forward. And it looks like the Strong Style Showdown is really starting to heat up with AJ and Wardlow, and now this draw. And as for show overall then, we got a 56 and did increase our popularity in 24 regions this time around, which includes the Mid-South. And we worked in front of 633 people tonight, which is absolutely huge. And let's address the locker room then, as we praise Shaf for a great performance, and we'll also, I think, praise LJ Cleary. He did well tonight as well. Let's make that speech, and they are both pleased. And as for financials then, did we turn a profit on the night? And we didn't, but we actually lost slightly less than last time, only losing $167. So again, getting closer to breaking even. And we basically are breaking even at this point. But we made $5,064 in ticket sales, $865 in broadcast revenue, and $1,502 in merch. But let's see our popularity and how much we improved then. Did we go up in any of the regions around the world? And more importantly, in the Mid-South? And we did, and we went up 2 points in the Mid-South from 29 to 31, which is the first time this has ever happened. And we're now only 4 points away from getting to that massive 35, where we increase in size. So this is absolutely huge tonight. We've also gone up in the Tri-State from 2 to 3, and everywhere else there was small improvements, but nothing to take us to the next level. However, that Mid-South growth is unbelievable. And yeah, the first time that's happened, so that's really good to see. Now I wonder if we've got enough shows to go up in size before Strong Style 40. As I say, we need 35 popularity to go to small. And in terms of how many shows we have left, we have 2 propagandas and 2 Strong Style events, so 4 in total. Now I reckon it's doable, especially if we can go up to twice before that, but we'll see. But we will find out in the next episode, which is probably our biggest yet, where we bring you the rest of the Strong Style Showdown and both nights of Strong Style 40. So make sure you tune in for that, and make sure you drop a like down below if you have enjoyed this, as we try and aim for 400 likes. Make sure you subscribe and check all the links in the description, especially the Patreon. And until next time, peace.